So everyone has seen Lisandro Martinez under Ten Hag for Manchester United this season, and I think it's pretty unanimous that he's been outstanding and probably will go down by the end of the season as the Premier League's best centre-back. And when we look at him statistically by analysing his FBref report, you can see exactly why. Over the past 365 days, he ranks in the 68th percentile for the amount of tackles he's winning per 90, which, considering he has been playing in possession-dominating sides, is actually a lot more impressive than it actually looks on first glance. And we can see this further when we break it down in more detail, as he ranks in the 92nd percentile for his tackles in the defensive third, which is obviously the area where winning tackles is going to be the most valuable for centre-backs. But before I go any further, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, OneFootball, which has become my favourite football app because it has everything you need to keep up to date with the latest news and transfers, providing you with articles to read as well as videos to watch, whilst also being excellent for keeping up to date with all the matches from across the world that are going on, providing a live ticker as well as match ratings and statistics, whilst also allowing you to check your team stats from across the whole season. If you're sick of having to use Google and Twitter to search for news and stats that you want to see, then the OneFootball app is definitely the app for you, so I'll leave it linked in the description below, and by downloading the app you will be helping to support the channel. He also ranks in the 71st percentile for tackles in the middle third and the 65th percentile for the tackles in the attacking third. He also ranks in the 50th percentile for his interceptions, and so we can see that statistically Lisandro Martinez is a very solid front foot defender, putting up very good defensive volume numbers, despite being on a side that's going to dominate possession, so obviously he's going to have less opportunities to rack up as many tackles as players who play for teams lower down the table who are going to have less of the ball, and so they are going to have more defensive opportunities than Lisandro Martinez. But I think it's the next set of defensive metrics that really showcase how good Lisandro Martinez actually is. He ranks in the 97th percentile for the amount of dribblers he's tackled, the 93rd for the amount of dribblers he's challenged, as well as sitting in the 77th percentile for the percentage of dribblers he's tackled, with a rate of 72.5%. He does rank in the 25th percentile for the amount of challenges he's losing per 90, but I think this is more down to how many tackles he's actually attempting per match, as he is an extremely high volume front foot defender. But Lisandro Martinez isn't just a tackling monster, he's also got fantastic defensive intelligence, and we see this most prominently inside his own box from crossing situations where he's able to position himself to cut off balls across the box, having a knack of always being in the right place to make an interception or put in a tackle. He's incredibly assertive and brave in every defensive action he puts in, which is why he ranks in the 96th percentile for the amount of blocks he puts in per 90. And so before we even discuss his on-ball ability, from a defensive point of view, Martinez represents the perfect modern day centre-back. And this is because stylistically you'd have to define him as a stopper centre-back, whereas I think Rafael Varane is definitely more of a covering centre-back. And this is why stylistically Varane and Martinez make a fantastic defensive partnership. Martinez is more inclined to move out of the defensive line to put in a tackle or make an interception, which then allows Varane to be the covering centre-back to move across and look to use his reading of the game accompanied with his pace to sweep up any balls that look to go in behind the defensive line. Victor Lindelof is also a centre-back I'd class stylistically as more of a covering centre-back than a stopper centre-back, and I think this is why United's centre-back pairings have struggled over the last few years. As with centre-backs like Lindelof, Maguire, Bailly and Varane, United didn't really have an out-and-out stopper centre-back, a player who could move out of the defensive line and have the ability to stop the attack before it even progresses into the defensive third. And this is why Lisandro Martinez has been so revolutionary to the Manchester United defence this season. And not only that, but Lisandro Martinez is the perfect style of centre-back for Ten Hag's style of play. And Ten Hag's style of play definitely represents what you would consider the modern style of play to be at the moment in Europe, with managers like Xavi, Arteta and Pep Guardiola, just to name a few, all using the same sort of pressing and defensive style that we do see Ten Hag's Manchester United use. And I think that's why you'd have to consider Lisandro Martinez as one of the, if not the best centre-back in all of Europe at the moment. And that's before we even come on to what he offers in possession. And in possession, there's a case to be made that Lisandro Martinez is the best ball-playing centre-back in world football. In the build-up phase, he's comfortable under pressure and he's got the ability to find those incisive passes, splitting the opposition's front-line press and working the ball into the central midfielders, which is vital for playing out of opposition pressure, which then allows United to exploit the space further up in the midfield. But in the middle third, when United have sustained possession, Lisandro Martinez is effectively another deep-line playmaker. From deep positions, he's got the ability to find incisive passes, splitting the opposition's midfield line, And so this gives United the ability to work the ball from in front of the opposition's defensive system into players like Fernandes, Eriksen and Sancho in behind the opposition's midfield between the lines, rather than having to constantly shift the ball out wide and work the ball around the opposition system. But Martinez also has the ability to switch play with long raking passes, which allows United to switch the attack from one side to the other, which is exceptionally useful when the opposition is using a narrow compact defensive shape, as having a player like Martinez who can perform this switch of play allows you to get the ball to the other side a lot quicker than via a series of short passes, enabling you to exploit the space on that side. And once again we can see just how good Lisandro Martinez is in possession when we look at his FB ref report. He ranks around the 70th to 80th percentile marks when it comes to his short and medium pass metrics, and whilst he only ranks in the 34th percentile for his long pass completion rate with a rate of 57.4%, that is more likely down to the ambitious nature of his long passes rather than his ability to accurately complete them. But it's when we look at his progressive passing metrics where he really comes into his own. He ranks in the 95th percentile for his passes into the final third and his passes into the penalty area, whilst also ranking in the 88th percentile for his overall progressive passes, showing that despite being a centre-back, Lisandro Martinez is effectively a deep line playmaker in possession. He also ranks in the 97th percentile for his key passes, the 98th for his expected assists, and the 82nd for his XG assisted, showing that he also has the ability to create chances when in the opposition's half as well. When it comes to his ability to progress the ball while carrying it forward at his feet, he ranks in the 92nd percentile for his successful take-ons and the percentage of his successful take-ons that he's completing. And over the last 365 days, he's actually completed 100% of his successful take-ons. He also ranks in the 89th percentile for his progressive carries and the 86th percentile for his carries into the final third. And so you can see that from deep positions in possession, Lisandro Martinez is a ball progression monster, able to find passes into players further up the pitch between the lines, as well as having the long passing ability to switch play, as he ranks in the 80th percentile for his switches. But he also excels when it comes to through balls as well, ranking in the 99th percentile for that metric as well. And so Lisandro Martinez can do pretty much everything. Even if you close off the space and prevent those passes opening up, he can carry the ball forward bypassing pressure as well. From a tactical point of view, Lisandro Martinez's experience in playing in multiple different positions, from centre back to left back to that deep lying midfield position, is definitely also a massive asset for Erik ten Hag, as ten Hag's possession shape is very fluid, as United can take up either a 3-2-5 or a 2-3-5 in possession, or even switch to more of a 3-1-3-3. And this isn't just between games or periods in games, it can also be between phases of play, as sometimes when the opposition manage to press United effectively, when they are in a certain possession shape, having the ability to shift quickly, and having players temporarily drop into different positions can be extremely important. And Martinez can be effective in multiple different positions. I would say that he's most effective when United drop into a back three, and Martinez occupies the wide left position with maybe Varane on his inside and Dalot on the far side. And this is because usually if the opposition's defending in a 4-4-2 in the middle third, or even a 4-5-1 where their midfield don't move out to press United's backline as quickly, then Martinez has a lot of space in this position, or at least more than he's going to have in that central centre-back position, or in the deeper lying midfield position, and so having him in this area, he can be used as football's equivalent of a quarterback, receiving the ball and looking to thread passes into players between the lines, switch play quickly with his long raking passes, or release players like Marcus Rashford via a pass over the top of the opposition's back line. Now he could also do this from that central centre-back position with maybe Luke Shaw dropping into that left side position of the back three and Varane moving over to the right side. But in general I think taking up one of these wider positions just gives you better angles to play these passes. But obviously he is going to be needed to take up these more central positions, and from here he can still utilise his long passing, receiving the ball from whichever side United happen to have the ball on, and essentially be at a point that United can switch play most efficiently using his long passing, as I said before. And even though we've rarely seen him do this, we could also see him shifting into midfield as well if Ten Hag needs him. For example, if Dalot or Shaw were to drop into these wide positions in the back three with Varane holding the deeper position, and if Casemiro was being man-to-man pressed, you could have the Brazilian push out of that area, vacating the space for Lisandro Martinez to push up from the back line. And I do think this is a role that could suit Martinez, as I do think he'd be very good with his back to goal, having the awareness and quickness of thought to release quick passes when under pressure, allowing United to bypass an opposition's press by bouncing the ball into him when he's in a congested zone, and have him quickly bounce the ball back out, almost as if he's a wall pass, moving the ball now out to a wider position where United can exploit the space on the outside of the opposition system that they've vacated by trying to squeeze narrow. So there really are 3 distinct roles or positions that Martinez can drop into in the possession phase, which is exactly the type of positional fluidity that Ten Hag would want, as it allows United to transition between positional shapes pretty fluidly. And with players like Shaw, Dalot and Casemiro also in those deeper positions, a number of different players can pop up in a number of different roles, making it extremely hard for the opposition to try to formulate a man-to-man press, as with United's players capable of dropping into multiple different positions, the opposition could end up with their pressing players getting drawn well out of position, and space is opening up in their defensive shape for United to play through. But what impresses me most about Lisandro Martinez isn't actually any of his defensive or technical attributes. It's actually more his mentality, or more specifically, his ability to consistently produce 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 performances when it really matters in the big games. See, it's one thing being a great tackler or having great front foot defending ability, reading the game well, whilst also having the ball playing ability to be a complete modern day centre back. But what really distinguishes the players that have top level ability to the ones that are genuinely world class is what they do and how consistent they are in the big games. And to me at least, I can't remember too many Manchester United players over the past decade, other than maybe Cristiano Ronaldo, who have been able to produce as many top level performances in big games as Lisandro Martinez has this season. In the video I did after the Newcastle Carabao Cup victory, I spoke about how I thought Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro and Rashford were United's clutch players this season, and a lot of other people in the comments pointed out Luke Shaw, Rafael Varane and David De Gea as well. However, even though I could maybe get on board with those 3 potentially being referred to as clutch players as well, I don't think they are as clutch as Casemiro, Rashford and in particular Lisandro Martinez. Varane and David De Gea have produced some outstanding performances in big games this season, but Lisandro Martinez has done it in almost every big game. From the victory against Liverpool right at the start of the season, to the second leg against Barcelona in the Europa League, to the Carabao Cup final and even the loss against Arsenal as well, alongside the Manchester derby and throughout other big moments in the season, Lisandro Martinez has probably been a standout player, not just putting in good performances but putting in game-saving performances. And I would go as far to say not only is Lisandro Martinez better than Rafael Varane, who I rate as well very highly, but I would say, thinking about it, Lisandro Martinez might just be the best centre-back in world football at the moment. I don't think United have had a centre-back as good as Lisandro Martinez since Nemanja Vidic, and there are similar themes that can be applied from the Argentine Martinez to the Serbian Vidic. Like Martinez, Vidic came to the Premier League as somewhat of an unknown quantity, with both players having played outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. But like Martinez at Ajax, Vidic at Spartak Moscow and Red Star Belgrade before that, prior to his January 2006 move to Old Trafford, had shown huge potential. And right from the start of their United careers, you could see that both had that raw defending ability, being fearless and dominant when going into aerial and on-ground challenges, and alongside other Premier League centre-backs like John Terry, Vincent Kompany and Jaap Stam, they both could and can put in those match-winning performances, and I think that's what separates the very good centre-backs from the truly world-class ones. And I think if you look at how long it took a centre-back like Sergio Ramos to eventually develop into the centre-back he became, with him not really hitting that world-class level until maybe about 2013, 2014, when he was 27, 28, then you can see why I rate Lisandro Martinez so highly, as if he's this good having only just turned 25. Imagine how good he's going to be when he reaches his late 20s, early 30s, when centre-backs generally peak. So if you enjoyed that video, check out my analysis videos of Jadon Sancho, Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, which will all be linked in the description, and subscribe to the channel and click the bell, as I have got a video coming out on Casemiro very soon as well, and put your thoughts on Lisandro Martinez in the comment section, and follow my Twitter and Instagram for more content.